Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me tonight. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to do a starry night sky. I'm calling it New Beginnings. Should be a very simple project. Be painting it in acrylics and showing you step by step how to do it for yourself. Got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He'll be man in chat for us tonight, so let's get started. All right, so this is my example picture. I got this off of the Graphic Stock website. I still have a subscription to them. I did a video for them a few months back, so I'm still using their images off their website. It's pretty awesome. Free plug for Graphic Stock. So I'm going to start out with a 9 by 12 inch canvas gesso board. It's not canvas really, it's just gesso board that's painted with gesso, and it's got a little slight texture to it. And I'm going to go over our colors with you real quick.
I'm not on the ball.
You're not ready? There we go. Okay. This is Titanium White, Quinacridone Magenta, Cadmium Red Light, Cadmium Yellow Medium, Phthalo Blue Green Shade, Ultramarine Blue, Dioxazine Purple, and some burnt Sienna in case we need it. I'm not sure if we will or not, but I've got it out there just in case. So let's start out with our night sky here, and I'm going to start out by creating a color with our blue and purple. I'm going to try to create our new Pantone color of the year. That ultramarine, it's called Ultraviolet. So I'm using Ultramarine Blue and Dioxazine Purple, and that'll make this kind of ultraviolet color. I think it's pretty close to the Pantone color that we're going for. And I'm going to put that up in this upper corner here. And then we'll work in some other colors as well, but wanted to do a little bit of this color in case you want to do. You could probably do your whole sky with this purple if you wanted to. It'd be really pretty. And I'm going to grab some more blue, and as I get towards the center here, I'm going to get a little bit more blue in my sky and just kind of work from the corner down. And I'm just sort of dabbing and mixing as I go. Let me get a thing here and let's mark out kind of our boundaries. Actually, let me get a piece of chalk. So our grass is going to be down in here. I'm going to just put it about, that's our halfway mark, then maybe at the quarter mark it's going to kind of crest and then come back down like that, just a slight rise. At the bottom of our canvas, a little bit more ultramarine blue. How you doing
Sorry,
tonight,
good.
hon?
I just noticed that those lights were turned away from you.
Oh, okay.
So I so stealthily turned them back towards
Thank you. Didn't make any noise at all.
You didn't notice it one bit. Doing great. Glad that we're back in the saddle.
I know. Mark's had to go back to work today.
I know. It was awesome. My office was 35 degrees when I went in there this morning. The pipes were frozen.
Nice.
No water in the wing, so...
Very cool. Very good.
Spent most of the day in my winter jacket wishing I had worn an extra pair of socks. And that's no joke.
I believe it. Grabbing some white here. I'm going to add a little bit of white down towards our horizon line. Oh, poor guy. So I'm not going past halfway because I want our girl to be right in here, and we're going to start our light color as we go this way. So I'm going to grab more of this white and do it, work it in up here. So, I bet that was fun. Hey, at least you had space heaters in your office.
We had like 12 or 13 of them running throughout the wing.
Oh, goodness.
But hey,
it happens.
Life is rough.
Yeah. First world problem.
Yeah. Did we say thanks for joining us tonight, everybody?
I didn't.
Oh.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for joining us, guys. I'm really glad to have you with us. Glad to be back painting for you.
If you like to watch paint dry, this is the channel for you.
That should be our new slogan this year.
I like that for 2018.
I do. Last year was Paint It Like You Stole It. And this year can be, if you like to watch paint dry, this is the channel for you. That's awesome. All right, just cleaning that out really well because I don't want to have a lot of that purple color in there when I'm doing my reds and yellow, or any of that purple color in there, really. I'm trying to get it all out of my brush. It's not wanting to come out. Actually, I think I'm just going to switch to another one. Let me grab here. I'll grab this. This is a number 8 bright. So I'll grab that.
Number 8 bright.
Clean. It's clean.
A clean number 8 bright.
Gonna scoop up some paint, some white paint off to the side there, and sort of deposit it on my canvas in a clean area, and grab a little bit of yellow off the side and mix that in. It's gonna be a really, really soft yellow color. And I'm gonna work that in this middle part here and sort of gently overlap this color that's not quite dry yet, so it's going to pick up a little bit of that blue as I go over it. Just kind of gently, see how it's doing that. If it's dried already, that's fine. You can just mix a little bit of that blue or put a little bit more blue on there just before you do this. There's all kinds of different ways of doing this. So if your paint is not wanting to blend on you, if it's already dried, just go over the top of the blue a little bit with this yellow color. With very little paint on my brush, just kind of skim it over the top. It'll pick up the texture of the paint, leave a little bit of this yellow color behind. It's kind of called dry brushing. But this is actually pretty wet still, so it's actually blending for me a little bit, so which is good. It's giving me that kind of cloudy effect that I'm looking for. I'm going to clean that out because I don't want that blue on there when I do my
So while you're cleaning,
thread.
The difference between a bright and not so bright?
The bright is shorter.
Just shorter bristles.
Shorter bristles, yeah.
Or a bright and a flat.
Right, not flat.
More politically correct.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, exactly. Adding that yellow down here all along this horizon line. I'm going to go back over this area over here. So I came in just a little bit farther than I will end up with my darker color. So I'll kind of push that color back, go over the top of it with my lighter color here in a little bit. So don't worry about it too much if you go too far with it on here. We're just going to keep this area kind of the lightest. We're not going to put any of those darker colors in here because we want it to look like it's really bright lit. A little bit of white.
Now,
A lot of white, a little bit of yellow.
Somebody's asked about the stiffness of the bristles on your brush.
Yeah, this brush is kind of a medium to, it's not quite firm, but it's not a soft bristle brush at all. So it's kind of a mid firmness brush. It's pretty much perfect for this kind of painting that I like to do. This is the Princeton Summit 6100 series, and I really love them. I've been using these for over a year now in all of my videos, and they work out really well in most cases. I really, and they've lasted a long time. I mean, you think about 100 videos and they're still looking pretty darn good. We did last year, you know, so I've been impressed with them. They're, you know, they're an investment. And you want to be sure that you're taking care of them and cleaning them well after every single use. Don't let them set in paint. Don't let them set in water. They will crack and you'll have to bandage them like I've had to do some of mine. But this is the, I'm adding a little bit of the Cadmium Red Light to my yellow mixture here. So I'm using that down here in this corner. But yeah, they've, you know, I've got the link down in the description to the Brush Guys website where you can purchase these and get a 5% off discount if you use the code Angela Fine Art. So you can look for that down in the description of the video.
5% off? Brushes?
5% off. You're doing the Oak Island.
I'm trying out for next season.
We've been watching Oak Island. Mystery. Not so mystery. I don't know. It just they keep digging more holes.
I think it's like The Curse of Oak Island.
Yeah, it's called The Curse of Oak Island on the History Channel.
5 seasons in, and they found like 2 coins.
Exactly, and a button.
And a button. They only spent $2 million last year.
I know, digging holes. I don't know why we like that show so much. The host is hilarious because everything they find is like
dramatic.
So dramatic.
A rock on the ground? No way.
Yep. I'm sure nobody never was like, I don't know what they're talking about right now.
Oh, they're not even paying attention.
I know.
Chad is talking about dinner and stuff like that. So.
Ultramarine Blue and Quinacridone Magenta here. I'm making a violet color. A red violet. I'm going to do that up here in this corner. It's going to look like a hot mess at first. Look at it. Doesn't look like much. That's normal. That's really pretty normal for acrylic paints. It's just kind of part of the process. You kind of have to work through when you're, doing these layer by layer and just kind of know that the first few layers are going to look really terrible and not really exactly what you want it to look like. So just don't stop at this layer level and say, send me a picture and say, what am I doing wrong? Because you're not doing anything wrong. Look at mine. You just got to keep on working on it. Keep working through it, and it'll eventually, hopefully, get to where we want it to be. So I added a little bit of the Quinacridone Magenta right there. I'm going to add Quinacridone Magenta and the Cadmium Red Light. If you notice, what I'm doing is gradually, kind of like a rainbow, kind of working my way across these colors in order so that the colors next to each other on the palette are the ones I'm mixing. So this corner is the Quinacridone Magenta, and then the blue from over here mixed together right here, and then the Cadmium Red Light, and yellow. So they're all kind of mixing. Grab some yellow here and a little bit more of that white. There we go.
We got a couple Oak Island fans out here.
Oh, do they? All right. They know exactly what we're talking about then.
Yep, H8.
Yeah. We're anxiously awaiting what they're going to find, if they found the money pit or not. Silliest show. It's like 5 seasons. I don't know how we've stuck in there this long. They found nothing.
That is how exciting our life is.
We're believers. Oh, gosh. All right. I'm going to add just a little bit of this color, just dusting it very lightly across my sky back here. Kind of over the top of my blue that should be dry by now. Add a little bit of this orangey yellow color. You want just enough color to kind of touch the canvas. You don't want it to be so thick that it's covering over your blue completely. You want to be able to see that blue through it. So if you're covering it completely, you just need to wipe your brush off on your paper towel a little bit so that it's got much less paint on there, and then just kind of keep kind of going over it. And I'm just kind of going back and forth and lightly working this color in.
Okay. What are some tips to help your paint from drying super quick on your palette?
Well, you can do a couple of things. I use a spray bottle, and I spray my paints. I use water in here, and I just spray them. There are solutions that you can buy that are palette extender solutions. I don't know. I've always had them clog up in the tube though, so I've never had really good luck with them. But you can buy a palette solution that kind of extends the palette drying time. And then there's in my Amazon list, if you go to Amazon, the link is down in the description. I think it's amazon.com/shop/Angela Fine Art. I think that's what it is. Anyhow, it's got the Stay Wet palettes, and those work really well for, especially if you're in a really dry area of the country. I would definitely recommend getting one. The only reason I don't use them is because they, well, I actually have one I'm going to try, but the palette can be used over and over and over again multiple times, and when I get done using it, it always looks so messy that it's a little bit confusing for folks. It's harder to reuse it again and again. So it's kind of wasteful because they're expensive. The papers are expensive, but you can use them multiple times, and you can save your palettes overnight for weeks, you know, days, weeks, if you need to. So that makes it nice too. Okay, I'm grabbing a little bit more of this yellow color, this middle color here, and I'm going to keep dusting with that. And now I'm going back over the top of my, I have way too much on there. There we go. Going right back over that blue color, and I'm going to go right over the top of that red that I just put down, or that orangey color that I just put down too. Now I can also, at this point, I might start to switch over to a stiffer scrubber of some sort. So I'm going to grab some of this with my blue, phthalo blue, and white. And I'm going to do this right along this edge right here, and I'm going to really wipe off most of that paint. This is a Deerfoot stippler. Really, any kind of stiff bristled stippler or stiff bristled brush. Hog bristle brushes work well. Any of those will work. And we're just going to scrub kind of in circles. And if you look at the picture, it's kind of got these kind of wispy, almost cloud-like things happening in here. So you can, it doesn't have to be perfectly uniform. It can be kind of uneven when you're doing this. So, but I'm just kind of scrubbing in a circle. You have very, very little paint on your brush. I think the most common problem that people have when they do these techniques is they have too much paint on their brush. So take most of the paint off and then take it off again. Wipe it off and then wipe it some more and then try on your canvas. And if it doesn't work, then you can always pick up more paint, but it's really hard to get it off of there once you've got too much paint on there when you're doing this kind of technique, because you're really wanting to see these under layers in there. And if you put too much paint down at one time, you're going to cover all of that up too quickly. See how that's working? So we're just softly working that color, that light blue color, up into this sky up here. Working these clouds into our sky. Let me grab some of this deeper purple that's up in this upper corner, and we'll just scrub with some of that up here. Well, I have a little bit too much of that light blue color still in there. Let's see if I can get some of that. There we go. Just mix that blue with the purple, the ultraviolet color, Pantone color of the year there. There we go. I'm just trying to get this part of the sky a little bit smoother because we were seeing a lot of the brush strokes in there. So you can always, like I did here, you can always grab that darker color and do the same thing over the top if you did too much of this lighter color. So, you know, if say I have an area that has way too much of this color, you can always go back over it with the darker color and blend that back down. So you can go back and forth between the light and dark colors until you get it the way you want it. But that's looking pretty good, I think. Liking it. I just need to blend some more of this in. This area is starting to look pretty good, I think. Clean that out really well. I don't want to leave my paint on my brush without it being in the water or cleaned out, so I'm going to clean that out really quick. I have a really bad habit of leaving my paintbrushes in the water while I'm painting, so I'm trying to get out of that habit, but it's hard because then you have to clean your brushes out as you use them, or keep them wet while you're every now and then dip them back. Remember to dip them back in the water so they don't dry with the paint in them. But,
are you handling it okay over there?
What?
Are you handling it okay over there?
I am. Why?
All right. Just making sure you're having some lamenting about your brush issues.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Could come over and give you a hug if I had to.
No, they're behaving.
Okay.
All right, now I've gotten all that blue out of there. Really, it's best if you use a fresh brush because these brushes can get a little bit soft when you get water in them. So you really want to keep them as firm as you can. So I'm going to try to squeeze out any of that water that's in there down in the middle. Wipe that off really well on my paper towel. Get most of that color off. And we're going to go back up here with this yellow. Keep on scrubbing.
Hey, did you know that ultraviolet is dramatically provocative and thoughtful purple shade?
I did not know that. This is the Pantone color of the year.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Go figure.
I love the descriptions that they have for them, for the colors. They're always very artsy speak. Artists speak. Are you reading off their website there?
Yes, a dramatically provocative and thoughtful purple shade. Pantone 18-3838 Ultraviolet communicates originality, ingenuity, and visionary thinking that points us towards the future.
There you go. Well, I've titled this painting New Beginnings, so there you go. I just like the symbolism of it being the new year and everything. I thought it was very symbolic. Fresh start, new year, open possibilities. Hope you guys are looking forward to 2018 with excitement and new ideas, new plans. If you're new to painting, welcome to my world. I'm hoping you'll go along the journey with me this year, learn some stuff. We have several people that share their artwork with us on my Facebook groups and on Patreon. If you want to become a member there and help support our channel, you can get traceables, and we do bonus videos and all kinds of different things. So there's all kinds of different ways to kind of interact with the channel and show me what you're working on from the tutorials and get advice and that kind of thing. And our group is very, very beginner friendly. So if you're a first-time painter, it's definitely a good group because it's all about encouraging one another in our art journeys. No art is judged or harshly. We're all at different levels and we all started somewhere. So my first rule of Art Club is, Thankful Art Club, is be kind.
Just don't talk about Art Club.
Right. Be kind. No criticism, no critiquing unless it's asked for. Because a lot of times you get on those websites, the art websites, and they can be brutal, especially to new time painters. They're hard on me. And I've been painting for almost 30 years, or maybe it has been 30 years now. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it has been since we're married 30 years this year. So, yeah. So, anyhow, yeah, there's the art world has lots of opinions on what you should be painting and what I should be painting and what art is and not what art is not and all that. So it's a safe place to go where you can explore your creativity with no judgment. That's nice. All right, grabbing some of that orangey shade here. And mixing some of that. Ooh, super chat. Nice.
Super chat
Nice way to start out the new year.
From Maggie E.
Thank you,
Says,
Maggie.
thank you for your great videos and Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy
but,
New Year to
but
you.
wait,
Uh-oh. What?
Brenda couldn't be outdone. So she threw up a super chat.
Nice.
Says, so happy to be back with you. Looking forward to learning even more from you in 2018.
Wonderful.
I think she was talking to me.
You think so? Okay.
She didn't say you or me, so I'm thinking it's me. Since she obviously put in chat for me to read. You can't read chat.
It's true. It's true. Grabbing some of that Quinacridone Magenta mixed with the yellow colors. Here, going over the top. So we're just kind of trying to create this soft, sort of wispy cloud-like thing happening here. Just want no hard transitions between the colors. So just, if you've got a really hard transition between two colors, just kind of mix the middle ground color. And that'll help ease that transition. So here we had a lot of this darker color and not a lot in between. So I'm grabbing some of that color and mixing it with this color. And then we're going to kind of ease that transition between those two colors. And so they're a little bit softer, a little bit more blended. See how that worked? So I'm just doing this, running in a circle. You don't want to do this with a good brush because you're going to ruin it. So grab a stiff bristled, scruffy old brush to do this, because you don't want to use one of your good brushes to look,
Okay, now somebody's asked if they don't have a Deerfoot stippler or a stiff bristle brush like that, what else could they use?
You can kind of create something similar. You can get a like stencil brushes. They come real thick like this, and you can even cut them at an angle if you want to, or you can take an old brush that's lost all of its, that's well beyond its use for anything but, this kind of thing. And you can even stiffen it a little bit. We add a little bit of like gel medium, or leave a little bit of paint in it to make it a little bit stiffer, and let it dry with, with some stuff in it, so that it kind of flares out a little bit and is a little bit stiffer, and it'll do for you too. So there's all kinds of different ways but those stencil brushes are like $1. They're not very expensive, so that's probably what I would go towards, first. But even these ones aren't. These are the Princeton Select, and their Select line are very inexpensive. They're like, a couple dollars for some of these brushes. So, and you can get them on sale at Hobby Lobby too, usually. So they're very economical. But yeah, if you don't want to have to run out, just grab an old brush from your brush pile. Okay, I'm really thinking that's pretty close. I feel like we could do more up in here. There's a lot of nothing happening up here, so I think I want to push this color back up into the sky a little bit more here. So we'll just keep working this yellow up this way. A little bit more of that yellow color. Wipe it off on my towel. And we'll push it back up in here. There we go. And then once we get all this in here, we can splatter with our stars. And then we're pretty much done. I mean, the only thing left is to do our silhouette. And you can use any silhouette that you wanted. You didn't have to use the woman. I just like the posture of open arms, embracing the new year, whatever. Grab a little bit more of that pink, a little bit more white, a little bit more of the yellow. And wipe it all off. Seems weird. You do all that work mixing it and getting it on your brush, and then you wipe it all off, but it's the only way to get this soft effect. So make sure you really wipe it off good. And then I'm really pressing down pretty hard on here and scrubbing it into this canvas. You can hear that texture kind of being rubbed into the canvas. So that's really the key, is very little paint and really hard scrubbing on the brush. Grab some more of that yellow color. Wipe that off. And we'll work that in here, especially along that horizon line there. More white. Let's put in some really bright areas of this area here. So almost straight. I went in with the white without wiping it off my brush. Here in this really bright middle area here, because I want it to be opaque white right there. And then I'll kind of rub blend out those edges.
Okay, so surprise, surprise.
Yes.
I wasn't listening to a word you were saying earlier. Because I was
that never happens.
No. Like the second time this has ever happened. And I was so far behind in chat. I mean, chat is flying by here.
Well, good.
You said something about adding something to stiffen the brushes.
Yeah, I've not done it myself, but I've heard that you can add like gel medium, or you could probably even use like a fabric stiffener or something like that on your brush, I would think. You know, just anything that will, you let it dry on there and, you know, stiffen up those bristles. In all seriousness, would like a hairspray work, or would the chemicals be too bad? I don't think it would be stiff enough. I don't think it would. Yeah, and the chemicals might. Yeah, I would use something that's a painting product of some sort, you know.
Super glue?
Super glue. There you go. Okay, we're getting there. It's almost there. Look how pretty it's starting to get that kind of fuzzy look we're going for. So, yeah. And then what we can also do, so I'll put a little bit more of this color up here than I intend to leave. I'll put some brighter color out here. And then I'll show you what we can also do that's kind of fun. I can take my brush and use a little bit of glazing medium or just water. This is golden glazing, acrylic glazing liquid. It dries slower than most glazing liquids, so it's helpful. And I'm going to add a little bit of white to it, a little bit of this blue, Might even add a little bit of yellow. Kind of create a soft green, blue, blue-green. Not too much yellow. I just want it to be kind of a little bit softened. Not too much white, not too much yellow. I'm going to wipe most of that off there. Get a little bit extra water there. Wipe most of it off, and I'm going to lightly, and this has to be dry, but I think it is dry enough. I'm going to lightly glaze over these colors, and you can see how it'll just change that. Since we have those lighter colors in there already, it'll change the tone of the colors. It adds this extra layer of softness, and really you can't get this any other way. If I had blended in this color over the top, it wouldn't have this quality of that the glaze has. I don't know why, but it just has a totally different, even though it's basically the same color, but something about the layering of the colors on top of each other creates this really beautiful effect. So another super chat.
This one is from Heather. And she says, thank you for your kindness and being our teacher. Happy New Year.
Oh, thank you, Heather.
So she's definitely not talking to me on that one.
She made it clear.
Well, it was implied.
It was implied. I love it. All right, I'm adding a little bit more, and you can use fluid acrylics if you have them. Something a little bit thinner. Otherwise, we can just add water to them. What we need to have it very, very thin for creating our stars. So you're going to want to add a lot of water. It should be like a milky consistency. If it's too thick, it just won't come off the brush. It really has to be very thin. And I'm using a fan brush here. This is just a generic fan brush. And I'm going to, but you could use a toothbrush too. You've probably seen me use the toothbrush several times before in some of my other videos. So I'm just going to tap, hold it over the top here and tap, tap, tap. And let that paint drip off in these little splatters. The thicker the paint, the smaller the stars. If I have them very thin, then it'll come off a little bit smaller. Or bigger, I mean, bigger splotches. So this is fairly large coming off of here. If you want them smaller, a lot of times the toothbrush helps too. I want them very small, like right around this center part. I want a lot of stars right in here, like almost like they're clouding out the sky. So and I'm trying not to move my brush here. I'm trying to hold it steady so that it's not, if you let it, if you fling it too much, it'll create lines in your stars, which we don't want. In this case, we kind of want them to be round. So I'm going to get some more. And actually, I think I'm going to get my toothbrush and see if I can get some smaller. There we go.
Okay, now that the fan brush was which brand?
Wetting down my, I don't even know. It's all worn off anymore.
It's all worn off? Okay.
Yeah.
And what brand is the toothbrush?
I don't know. I know the Art Sherpa has like a blending set that has a toothbrush in it, so you could grab that one. It's really good. It's hard to find these really stiff bristle brushes. These ones work best. You really want a firm brush, bristle brush, and see how much smaller these can get with this. Really going to town here and doing a lot of them.
Man, you gotta love side cam.
I know. You get to see that.
Could see how you're doing the thumb and the angle and all that stuff. So,
all right, I think that's looking pretty good. I like the rainbow effect of the sky in this one. It's pretty. And then I'm going to grab a daughter here and my stylus, or you can use the back end of a brush. And I'm just going to make some larger dots in here. And just a few of these. Another super chat. I'm going to make some of these that are already here just a little bit bigger, I think.
this one from Heather again.
What?
Yeah, chat. Somebody put a earworm out there for everybody. Suggested that I would dance at,
oh, no.
at the video. And so Heather donated again. It says, this is for Mark, but you got to dance for us.
Uh-oh.
A little peace, love, and art. I told them I was already in my snowflake PJs.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, even more reason why I should
I'm
dance.
not going to be on camera tonight. I didn't even do my hair today. It's bad.
In reality, we don't have any cameras set up to do.
We really don't, honestly. Yeah.
shot.
So
They're all pointing down towards the top tonight. So
we'll have to get it set up for that. But yes, we'll have to do that in future.
Maybe that'll be my channel, Dancing Art.
Dancing with Mark.
Dancing Art with Mark.
Oh, nice. I like it. All right. I'm going to prop my hand up here so I don't get it in this wet paint. I'm just kind of creating some larger dots amongst my stars here. I think I'm going to make this one nice and big right here. There's one that's quite large here. So I'm going to scrub in some more color, but for right now I'm just going to put white in the center. And we'll do a couple bigger ones here. Ooh. Here. Really doesn't matter. You could even kind of look up your I think it would be pretty to do like constellations in the sky. You could do the little lines between them if you wanted to get fancy about it. I think that would be really pretty. You know how they do the little thin lines between them to kind of connect the dots. If you're into that kind of thing. All right, this is almost done. I'm going to have to probably have you dry this. I'll try to do the grass first and see how it goes. See if I can get this stuff to dry while my grass is being put on there. Let me find my fan brush. I'll use this fan brush to... And this is a small one. This is probably a number 1 or number 2 fan brush if you're looking for ones, and it's hoggy bristle. You don't want to get the soft bristled brushes with the fan brush, at least not with heavy body acrylics. It just doesn't work. They just flop around. So you need the stiff bristle brushes for these. And I think I'm going to use that purple color, that ultraviolet color. So we'll mix a little bit more of that with the ultramarine blue and purple. And I'm going to use that up here and just start filling in. And going over the top of our sky very lightly with this fan brush and creating some grasses. Now, if they're not flowing off your brush very well, you can add a little bit of water. That'll help the fan brush. But you don't want to get too much water in the stiff bristled brush, so you want your paint to be wet but not your brush, if that makes sense. So wet your paint down, but keep your brush as dry as you can. There we go. And we'll get a little bit longer grasses with you. There we go. And I'm starting just below where or just right on that line where that color ended and going up above it. And then over here we're actually going to have lighter colored grasses, but I'm going to go ahead and put this darker in, and then we'll add some of this burnt sienna and do this area with some burnt sienna. And the grasses are all kind of pointing this direction a little bit. So, and then this area I'm just going to go ahead and fill it in. This whole bottom area is pretty dark. We'll have a little bit of lighter color over the top. And I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in. And I'm going to grab some of that phthalo blue and do that in this area. Kind of like we did the sky, we're going to do kind of some different colors down in here. I'm just going to scrub that in. And then grab that darker color and finish filling in down in here with that dark ultraviolet blue. Pretty well for me. I think I'm going to go ahead and try to work on that star while this part down here dries. So I'm going to use if you had a small stippler or like a small stiff bristle brush, you could even use a round brush and just kind of run it in a circle. I'm going to go ahead and use this brush. This is one of the Art Sharper brushes. Really like it because it's nice and firm here. And I'm going to use a little bit of that yellow, mix a little bit of that yellow with the white on the star here. And wipe most of it off as we did before. And we're going to scrub around the outside of this star to create a halo on our star. And really, I probably had too much paint on my brush for that. Now the thing that can happen, see how it's creating a halo effect where the inside dried before the outside did. And when I kept scrubbing it, it just pulled it right off. So that can happen. It's pretty normal. I'm just going to grab a little bit more white and dab a little bit of white in there and try to kind of, there we go, very carefully, very lightly scrub in some white to make that a little bit bigger. Okay, and then let's add a little bit, wipe that off, add a little bit of this halo around some of these other stars over here. Just a little bit, we just want them to look like they're kind of glowing. Just a little. And if it creates that little ring around it, you just grab a little bit more of that white and dab a little bit of white in the center. And that'll fill it in. It's pretty common. I'm going to add a little bit more white on this one. Tap it in. I'm just going over these bigger ones with this. I think maybe we got inspired by Starry Night on this one. Another super chat. Man, we are hitting it tonight.
Another super chat from Low. No message. So
thank you very much.
I'll say they just wanted to see the disco lights.
And they wanted to hear the cowbell.
And the cowbell, yeah.
Moo.
Like I said, I want to dim the lights when the disco lights come on.
All right, I'm going to grab that. That's okay. I vote no on that. I'm going to start in the center here and just very lightly drag from the outside. Create this little starburst thing here in this star. And you can see what's happening right there. That was starting to dry, and I touched it with the wet paint. And it creates this, it picks up, it lifts. It's just, that's what acrylics do. They as they dry, they get sticky, and I'm going to go in with thick paint here and try to get it, dab it on there over the top. If it doesn't stick, you can just let it set. Just let it set, let it dry completely, and then you can add the paint later. But they're pretty particular about not being messed with while they're drying. It's just kind of a fact of working with acrylics. All right. And I'm really liking how this is turning out. I love the look of the sky. Pretty.
Looking pretty sweet.
Yeah, I like it.
You want to hear what Latrice Seisman has to say about the Pantone color of the year?
What?
She says, "We are living in a time that requires inventiveness and imagination. It is this kind of creative inspiration that is indigenous to Pantone 183838 Ultraviolet.
I like it.
A blue-based purple that takes our awareness and potential to a higher level.
What?
From exploring new technologies and greater galaxy to the artistic expression and spiritual reflection. Intuitive ultraviolet lights the way to what is yet to come."
What?
For real.
That's pretty sweet. Intuitive ultraviolet lights the way for what is yet to come. Well, that was meant to be for this painting.
She knows what she's talking about because she's the executive director of the Pantone Color Institute.
Nice. I like it. All right, I'm adding some of this glow here in the sky. Sorry, I'm not stopping. Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm just trying to keep going here. I like it. Very artsy speak. I never can come up with those kind of good explanations of my artwork. It's always like, I painted it because it was pretty. I like the colors.
I liked it.
I liked what it looked like. I'm like all that very artsy speak. I appreciate art speak. I just don't do it well. All right, so I created this traceable ahead of time. I'm going to try not to get it in my wet paint if I can. Set it on there. Actually, bring it down a little bit. Oh, I got one. And if you've never used tracing paper before or transfer paper before, it's got a dark side and a shiny side. You want to put the dark side down and try not to rub it on your canvas too much because it will actually get little bits of color on wherever it touches. So, and I can't find my...
You were using it for your star.
I know I was. I don't know what to do with it. It's all right. I got another one over here. Ouch. Okay, so I'm just using a stylus here, and I'm going to go just on the inside of my lines here. And what I did when I drew this is I just kind of figured out how tall I wanted my girl to be, woman, I guess. And then I kind of marked her hands and her hands to just below the waist is about the same distance as from the waist to the bottom of the body. So that'll kind of help you get those proportions correct. And then the head is just about the halfway mark between the top of the hands and the shoulders. So this, you could kind of mark the waist, kind of how thin you want it to be, and it kind of does this V shape right here. And then these two arms, the hands kind of create this sort of triangle shape or diamond shape almost, like right here, like that. The thumb is coming out right here, and it narrows for the wrist. The elbow comes in a little bit, and then it widens just slightly for the arms. So narrow wrist, widen a little bit for the forearm, narrow back down for the elbows, and then widen out for those biceps on our arms. And then her hair is just kind of shaggy a little bit on the sides, rounded at the top, and just kind of shaggy on the sides. And it kind of meets up right where the shoulders are there. And her head's about, it's a little bit, if you did a straight line up from the waist, you should come in just a little bit for the head. So it shouldn't be any wider than the waist, obviously. And then her dress is coming down and kind of comes in. I think it's kind of a two-layered piece or something. Okay.
So is she having a good hair night or bad hair night?
What? I think she's having a good hair night, hopefully.
Okay, good. Hey, somebody asked, what did you do to put the glowiness into your grass?
Oh, I added a little bit of the burnt sienna to this yellow-white mixture. And I'm going to add more, so I didn't explain it very much there when I first put it on. But yeah, I'm going to add more. That's why I didn't talk about it too much, sorry. You were saying something and I was looking. I don't know. All right, I'm going to get my eraser here and just try to erase off some of these lines from... another trick you can do if you have bleach wipes, you can use bleach wipes on this. It will get off these lines really easily, but you want to make sure that your paint's cured. It can kind of remove the paint as well as your lines if your paint's not completely dry. So just be careful when you're doing this not to rub it too much on your canvas, and I might just go ahead and cover that up with a little bit of paint because it's, what happened to my, oh, there we go. Let me see if I can use wet water. Get off a little bit. See, it's taken off the paint. That's why you're seeing that blue through it. I rubbed a little bit too hard with the eraser right there, so I'm just gonna... I have no idea what that is. I think I touched my fan brush on there. So I'm just gonna use my Deerfoot Stippler here and add a little bit more. Or I'll use this brush because it's not wet. Add a little bit more of this light color. And right in here. There we go. Okay. Sorry, that was bugging me. All right, now I'm just going to use a very small brush. I've got a 20 0 brush here, and I'm going to use the burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. And add that in here, and I think I'm going to add a little bit of white to it as well to soften it up just a little bit, especially on this side over here. It's kind of creating a gray. I think I want a little bit more blue than that though, so let's grab a little bit of this, more of the ultramarine blue and white. I'm really going to mimic the sky colors in her. So she's going to be kind of closer to these colors on this side, and then the dark side of her is going to be closer to these darker colors on this side of the canvas. I think I'll use Phthalo blue with that burnt sienna. Do it nice and dark right up here where her hand is.
I want to say again, thanks for joining us tonight. Everybody, if you've just discovered Angela's channel, welcome.
Yes.
You can subscribe to her channel and give a thumbs up if you're enjoying the video. You can join us in chat and post any questions you want to about painting, or you can contribute to the remedies for migraine headaches. Right now.
You have to subscribe to do that though. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so subscribe, get into chat.
Yes, if you want to participate in chat, you have to subscribe. That's how YouTube makes you.
So them's the rules.
Kind of nice. Yep. And if you want to get notified of new videos of mine, you can go to my website and sign up for my, enter your email information in my contacts list. And you can also click on the little bell that's by the subscribe button, and it'll send you emails that way too, because I'm not as good about sending the emails about every video. I just do about once a week maybe, if I remember to make Spencer do it. My son is supposed to be my email guy, but he forgets most times. I wanted that to come in a little bit more right here, so I'm going to take that off right there. You can zoom in a little bit on this part, I think, hon.
I can zoom in a lot a bit.
Right, there we go. Okay. So this side has been phthalo blue with a little bit of the burnt sienna added in. Creates this kind of pretty teal color. I think that's pretty close to what we're looking at in our image. Pretty similar. We'll do that all along this side. In fact, I might just go ahead and do the whole thing, and then we'll just scrub on top of her with that lighter color. It's another way of doing it. We're going to add a little bit of the more white to her as we get to this side. So this side's just a little bit lighter. I'm just going to blend those together as I put them on. And I'm going right over the top of that grass, and we'll put some grass on top of her dress. So don't worry about that. Yeah, my Thankful Art group voted on this one this afternoon for me because I couldn't decide what I wanted to paint. I had 4 different images that were all kind of the same sort of inspirational type of looking images. So they chose the Starry Sky, and I think we're going to do one of the other ones as well, but I'm going to leave that a secret. We'll see when we do it. I don't know. I don't want to commit to it right now. There's no telling what I'll decide to do Saturday. Depends on how I'm feeling that day. Okay, see how just having a little bit lighter color already kind of makes her look like she's glowing a little bit there. We'll let that dry really well, and we'll put in some more grasses here. So I'm going to get some of our yellow.
Can I sing This Girl Is on Fire? I know I can hit the high note.
You can't.
Can I give it?
You will get me in trouble if you do.
I could give it a...
You can't even hum it.
They won't even recognize it.
They totally will.
No.
I'll get caught.
They'll be like, what they're going to call the...
They won't let me monetize my video. They'll take all the money for it.
They're going to think I'm doing something horrible to cats. If I was saying it.
Just saying, don't do it. All right, I've got a little bit of the... Little tiny bit of the Cadmium Red Light. A little bit of the Cadmium Yellow, and mostly white here. And I'm going to clean that off, and I want to make sure that that paint is thin enough, fluid enough that it flows off the brush. You can kind of see what it's going to do if you find a spot on your palette there to sort of test it. And I'm going to go over the top of her dress here and do some grasses right in there. Just right over the top of her dress. Lit up. And then I think we need it darker down in here, so I'm going to grab some of that burnt sienna. Grab some of that cadmium red and the Quinacridone Magenta. And a little bit of that blue. It's picking up a little bit of the Ultramarine Blue too. The blue, if you have enough of the reddish colors in there, it won't turn the blue green. You don't want it to be green. We want it to stay kind of reddish, but the blue will kind of tone it down and make it a little bit more. Yeah, that's pretty. More neutral with that burnt sienna in there. Come on. It's kind of just has to be just the right, there we go. Just the right fluidity in that paint in order for it to come off. Right. And I don't want to overlap it too much because I do want to be able to see the grass fibers there. So once I get down there, I'm going to clean this out and grab some of that phthalo blue and mix it with that yellow color that's mixed with that white. And this will kind of create a light teal color. And we'll use this as our kind of transition color between the dark area and our very light color. Just a little bit of this grass in here. Grab some of that darker phthalo blue. Make sure I'm adding water to it so that it's fluid, because it won't come off my brush if it's too thick. The fan brush won't work well if it's too thick. And I'm going to set it down and just sort of drag. I'm really just kind of flicking it up over the top of some of this lighter color to create some shadow, or really kind of a silhouette of this darker grasses on top of that lighter grass there. So just a few areas. Grab some of that Dioxazine Purple now. Add some water to it. Really should be fluid, almost like we did the stars. That's almost as fluid, how fluid you need it to be to get these lines the way you want them to come off this fan brush. There we go. Just put a few of these darker grasses over the top. And I'm going to grab some of this lighter green and do some more of this lighter green color too.
Did we say that we were going to start the new year with a new stickman?
We do need to do that, don't we? We do need a new stickman.
Where's my my art materials?
We need a... There's some stuff in here. You should have prepared me ahead of time.
I know.
You can
Sorry.
look over there.
Okay, I'll look around. So you're just going to have to do the rest of the show by yourself as I get myself mentally prepared for this.
Prepared for this? Okay.
Yeah. I got to get into that right place.
Right, the right place for... Okay. Do you need to play some music? You can go put on your headphones and sit in the other room.
Maybe we could do some chanting.
Think some deep thoughts.
What am I looking for? I'm looking for a sketch pad.
There's a whole section in there that's a folder that's got scrap papers toward the back. There, you can see it.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Right.
Scrap papers, huh? Is that what stickman's relegated to?
Adding this lighter pink color in here. Just trying to get this grass to kind of glow for us. This is probably the hardest part of it, and really, honestly, you could do the whole thing in that darker silhouette if you wanted to. You didn't have to do this glowing part if it's stressing you out. Let me see. I'm going to grab my Stippler again. Take off all that extra water from it. What got on it right there? I'm going to add some white and yellow. Wipe all the extra off. I'm going to tap it on that little spot there that's bugging me. And then I'm going to very lightly rub it over the top of this side of the lady. You see how it's kind of disappearing her a little bit and creating that glow even more pronounced. And then we can do a little bit in the grass too, now that we have it in there. It's probably an easier way of doing the grass, doing it dark and then just kind of adding this lighter color on top. It's probably... And then what we can do is glaze to finish it off. Glaze a little bit of that pink color, pink orange color. Add some water to my paint here and just add it on top of this color that this is that Quinacridone Magenta that was mixed with the Cadmium Red Light and a little bit of white over here. That's probably a better way of doing that grass than trying to put it in solid. Okay, I'm liking that better. Add a little bit of this color. Well, maybe not. Yeah, I like that yellow. Okay, and then I think I still want a little bit of that darker color now that I've finished all of the highlights in the grass. I'm going to put a little bit more of that darker color in front right here to create a silhouette of the grass in front of the grass, this foreground grass. Just a little bit. And really when you're doing these grasses, it's really important to kind of keep moving your brush around so that you're not getting uniform color every time or uniform pattern in your grass. So I'm kind of doing this sort of circular motion and just barely touching the tip of it down so that sometimes it's going straight and sometimes the grass is kind of turning a little bit and it's not looking too same because you don't want it to look artificial. If it's too uniform, it'll look a little bit kind of artificial. All right, I think we're done, hon. What do you think? Zoom out a little bit here. Here we go. Yeah, I like it. All right, Mark's going to give me a new stick man, I guess. Is that what we're doing?
Where's my, where's the Sharpies?
I don't know. Do we have to do this right now?
No, we don't have to. That'd be a no.
Okay. Well, you can do it.
I was going to do it on
Okay, do it.
Here.
Do it.
Here we go. Don't try this at home, people. I just make it look easy. I'm a professional.
I like it. All right, so we'll give him a little bit of a galaxy up here.
No, you don't need to let that dry.
Okay. Thanks. Just trying to end it before an hour and a half here. Just trying to keep our hour time down. We're more likely to get closed captioning if we're closer to an hour.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You were trying to rush perfection there, but...
All right, we'll give him like a night sky. This looks really bad.
I think that's good enough. We'll call it.
Call it good? All right.
Call it
Our
good.
first one from 2018. I like it. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you try it. And if you do, you can share it with me on my social media links down in the description there. And you guys have a happy 2018. Hopefully you had a great holiday season and ready to start the new year right. So, all right. We will get off of here and we'll be back on Saturday with another video for you. Thanks. Bye.